if you had to like name Kate's accent lah, like you just said Punggol, you should what would you call Kate's accent?
It's more like Tanjong Pagar.
Huh?
Tanjong Pagar accent.
Tanjong Pagar. Oh,
Like her real life, normal day to day lah.
she's a Tanjong Pagar accent. lah. I would say one North accent lah. She one North accent.
One North.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yes.
How? It's still the Chinese New Year celebrations, right? 15 days, right?
It is. It's 15 days, yeah.
So how does that trickle down into your everyday life?
Actually, I think a lot of people only starting to work today. Like going back to the office today. Yesterday was declared. Most people like didn't work yesterday, I think.
Yeah, that's what I found out over the weekend also. As in, it's they took leave or it's just company
No, the
policy?
office. Yeah, office.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I think there's like specific days that are more lucky to start work lah.
Was it?
Basically, yeah. This thing called
Based on
Kai
what? Like the date or something?
It's on the star signs and everything lah. You know.
But I've never
all
heard
this
that
stuff.
before for CNY going back to work, or is it because it's over the weekend kind of thing?
No, it's always usually a specific day that whatever they calculate that is the best to start work lah.
Oh, is it? Wow,
It's a cultural thing.
cultural thing.
Yeah. My religion lah. Don't offend me by
Your religion or your culture?
I'm joking lah.
Oh, I see.
I'm saying people take it quite seriously lah. Like they will literally like, let's say like, I think some people like yesterday was a better day to start work for them specifically. Then I think they would do things like have a just a call lah, a Zoom call, and then morning everyone. After that they're done.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Seriously, it's called 意思 lah. Just for that lah.
I guess maybe it takes after a long weekend, it's always hard to reacclimatize a bit lah.
Yeah, I think after Chinese New Year it's always
Yeah.
tough lah. Chinese New Year is a very busy period. Yeah.
Even for me, Tuesdays normally I'm vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday I ate leftovers at home. I ate pork and chicken,
Oh, is it?
and I only realized in the afternoon.
What happened? Like
I forgot. I thought it was a Monday.
Huh?
I thought it was a Monday.
I thought it meant a lot to you to not eat.
I mean, it means a lot.
Echoing what you always say. It means a lot to.
No, but then after that, when
Yeah.
I found out, I was like, oh shit, okay lah, no more meat for the rest of the day.
Oh, okay.
And I also had a stomachache, so I don't know whether it's related lah.
I probably was at least recounting this story of you not eating meat on Tuesdays to at least one person over this Chinese New Year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Just talking about general irritating social behaviors, I suppose.
Very positive Chinese New Year. Very positive.
You know what Chinese New Year is
Year.
about? Is to gather and talk about the things that irritate you in the past year or so.
Oh, you know, I'm
Yeah.
actually touched that like you talked about me to your family and all. Means that I occupy a space in your brain.
Right.
Like.
At least I'm honest about it also. I'll tell you
yeah.
afterwards that, I complained about you, to this. I'm usually like that. People think, they say that I gossip, but it's not gossip if you are, after that you turn around and tell the person, I spoke about you.
But for a moment of time, it's still gossip.
For
lah.
a short moment,
for a short
but
moment,
so you got to give it a grace period.
So then if I didn't bring up the fact that I ate the vegetarian food, non-vegetarian food yesterday, would you have told me?
it will have come in conversation, I'm sure. Somehow.
When? Like a few months down the road,
Every
is it?
week we at least talk about it once, right? Every week.
That's true. Oh, one thing peculiar I saw happen over Chinese New Year was on Saturday. I went to IKEA with my wife.
Yes.
And there were a number of like groups of families there who either seemed like they came from visiting or went visiting.
Possibly,
or
yeah.
going visiting after.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that phenomenon?
Yes, and I think it's like counter programming of a Chinese New Year. Like Shake Shack was open over Chinese New Year. And it was packed to the brim.
Yeah.
And not just with minorities, but the same as you, like me Chinese people who are a bit sick of eating Chinese food already. And they go and wolf down a burger,
Just like a breather almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Like. And then the good thing is that because everything else is closed in the mall, so there's really nothing else to do other than just sit there and eat. And it's not so crowded, right?
Because I bumped into an ex-colleague and I said, why are you here? She said, every Chinese New Year, her and her husband will come to CNY.
Oh, yeah. To CNY.
Come to IKEA on CNY. Then, I mean, by then her queue, she had to pay and also I couldn't ask her more. But what I imagine is, if I had to hypothesize, it is maybe they don't live in the East and if they're going to the East to visit family and all, It's like, when else to go to IKEA? And the food,
Tampines,
the food can be, dining at IKEA is also an experience,
Yeah.
So, okay, quite interesting. Then I also saw like a 3-generation family taking a photo in one of the IKEA living rooms. Then I was thinking,
cute.
Shit, is this like 4D chats? They say they can't come visit because they're at someone else's house, but they're just chilling at IKEA.
It's a fake someone else's.
Yeah, that's right. Then I was like, oh shit, that's interesting. But yeah, it was still nice. It wasn't as crowded as the past few years, according to my ex-colleague.
Yeah.
So,
I think this Chinese New Year is interesting. For me, this is the first time celebrating since the start of the pandemic. Right? And I think actually for a lot of people, it's the same. So last year was definitely not as big as usual, right? But because people haven't celebrated for so long, literally it's like almost 3-4 years already, right? I feel that generally people are less pressured to have to follow all the typical traditions that come with Chinese New Year. And that there's this realization, and because 3 years is a long time and some people might be older or even have passed on and everything, right? People have realized this current generation of Singaporeans, we all have much smaller families. So those big family gatherings that we used to think about as what Chinese New Year meant to us, right? Don't really exist anymore. They exist in smaller pockets, or like what you said about the family at IKEA, they are creating their own traditions already for their family, and not for anyone else, not for the big extended family with a big party and all.
Yeah.
So they do stuff that is like they're part of their family tradition, but it's very out there. It's different things.
Yeah. And also I think, like how the pandemic and all the working from home have changed people's perspectives on work, right?
Yeah.
I think also socially, it's almost you can work from home, then you celebrate from home.
Yeah.
I would imagine, because I also spoke to a family friend who said like his grand aunt, since the pandemic, has now the number of visitors they want to the house is also less. Just no need everybody come, just come like that. And whereas last time it used to be like a huge visit.
And you feel pressured to be there because everyone else is there. But now you're like, well, you go there, it's a super spreader event, right?
Super spreader event.
All these Chinese New Year parties and all the old people and everything.
That's true, But can you imagine if 10 years down the road, there's just no gatherings?
Correct. No, but it's a reality. It's a reality that we have to get used to. That I also have to explain to my kid, he's meeting a lot of relatives for the first time or even maybe only second time. I have to explain, it's... These are your relatives that you don't see very often, but they are your relatives, your family and all that. So it is something that our generation, remember we went from like families of like 20 to down to 2 because of the stop at 2 thing. And then now 1 or none, very rarely we see 2 or 3, okay. I think 3 or 4 is rare. 3 or 4 is very rare. 2 is probably the most common, but usually 0 to 2.
But as with most things, there might be a cycle. Our generation, it tapers off. Then people realize, hey, fuck, man, we need to have bigger parties. Then it goes back, so in 2 decades, it'll be back to like big-ass gatherings.
But different kind of parties already, I'm saying.
Vision Pro,
It'll be maybe Vision Pro, but I think the dynamic is more like friends, friends that you grow up with. Like my kid now grows up with, he's growing up, he's quite close to all his friends in school. I say close in the sense that they hang out on weekends. We hang out with the parents and they hang out together on weekends. I don't think last time in primary school or kindergarten, my parents would bother to arrange for me to meet up with my classmates and all that.
That's true.
But now we actively do that because, we are making up for the lack of this extended family network.
That's true.
Yeah. So, the other thing I wanted to ask, do you find, you attended a couple of these Chinese New Year thingies. Were the questions that you got annoying or anything? No, nobody. I also found that generally people a bit more kinder in their interactions. None of the very asking stupid questions kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that one Chinese New Year has never really happened because it's not my festivity. So if anything, I'm visiting friends, not family. Diwali, my extended family in Singapore is not the biggest. That's where I can imagine the friends get awkward. Questions get awkward. My friends not going to ask me awkward questions or anything.
Really?
Different kind of awkward questions.
Unless I'm there.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, Tuesday, what are you going to do? How are you going to eat today?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. But it was still nice. It was chill.
Yeah. Except unless you were at MBS for the drone show, then it
was fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, that was madness. Yeah. So I also take a step back. I'm not going to say that it was a more chill Chinese New Year for everyone, because I think some people are legit stressed out at the event, crying and stuff.
But that one also is more an event as opposed to the CNY family festivities.
Yeah. But I'm just saying people. You would think that large groups of people congregating together wouldn't be so common, but that one was an exception.
Plus, also because of the rain, right?
It poured. The downpour forced people to squeeze into MBS and all.
Some of the pictures are fucking crazy.
It's like almost Itaewon level of crowding. Right?
Yeah. Dangerous. That's why I think now they have rescheduled some of the next few drone shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a weekend that just went by.
Yeah, I think someone was saying, we were talking about how January felt very long, or at least for me, it felt very long. But February is we're already halfway through it already. Just
plus
in the blink
long
of an eye.
And all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, conversely, there were also other things happening around the world this weekend, some of which were not as festive, which we will get into. Get into. Our first topic is related to that.
Yeah.
But before that, Terrence, what's our spiel?
Well, if you're new to this podcast, Happy New Year. But also, please do follow or subscribe if you like what you're hearing. I'm seeing a lot of new comments on YouTube that cannot stand our monotone voices talking about things.
Yeah.
But welcome. I'm glad you took the time of your day to stop by our YouTube channel and make that comment. That warms my heart to know that we have that real estate in your brain also.
Yeah. But I mean, monotone voice, you have been the traditionally monotone voice, right? So I was like, okay, one monotone, two monotone voices.
Yeah. They call you out, man.
Fuck, man.
Because you had sore throat or something recently, right?
Yeah. Little do they know. That was temporary only. Yeah,
the
temporary.
Mercurial renter.
I'm back. Yeah, that's why.
I was going to say Ronaldo, but I already passed it already.
Yeah, that's right.
The Bellingham of renting.
Bellingham. Oh, and if you want to work with us in any way, right now we've been getting people emailing us for internships. Please keep them coming.
Yeah.
Or if you want to work with us, you're a brand, just email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com. Sweet.
But
all right.
So what is our first big topic?
Our first big topic is the news that the police, Singapore Police Force, is actually investigating a couple of events relating to the Israel-Hamas war that happened on February 2nd.
Yep.
And also a cautionary warning against protesting at the Singapore Air Show, which is happening in soon.
Yeah.
Soon. So basically there was a media press statement, media reply for events issued by the Singapore Police Force on 13th February. So yesterday. Basically on 2nd February, there was a gathering of about 70 plus people around the Istana where they walked and delivered letters for Palestine, or wanted to develop the letters, and they were just showing solidarity against for Palestine. And they also carried umbrellas with watermelon images to showcase their cause. Later on in that day, there was a private event where a video was taken and shared online that showed someone up on stage leading chants that include the phrases "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," and again another show of public support for Palestine. And then there was something about calls to protest at the Singapore Air Show. I haven't found much news or concrete stuff about what or who was calling, but that has now sparked off some debate online. Even Josephine Teo posted on Facebook saying that it's tough to watch this from afar, but we need to protect the peace and harmony in Singapore.
Yeah.
Because it was last October that it was announced that all applications for public rallies or protests relating to Israel, Hamas, Palestine will be rejected. So, yeah. I mean, this is also off the back of the recent onslaught on places like Rafah in Gaza, right?
Yeah.
That have been bombed again. More deaths coming out. Not say bombed again. I think this is the first time. Or a concentration of bombing there.
Yeah.
So with all that, so that's what happened. But what made you want to talk about this?
I guess it's there's some question marks about how much jurisdiction the police has over some of these events, right? I think one about the marching with the umbrellas and delivering letters. That's being equated to a public assembly, right, by the police. But the other one about the private event and the people chanting at the private event. If it's a private event, is there an issue with that, right? A private event, a private gathering of individuals who are interested to talk or listen to a topic. Should that be made an issue out of it? Because otherwise, as the general public, we wouldn't actually have heard of anything like this, right?
Yeah.
The marching one, I can see, okay, people see it in public and everything. But the private event, it is in an enclosed space. It's really a private event.
Yeah. So basically what the police said, because for the public one, it might be an offense under Section 15(1) of the Public Order Act in 2009 for organizing a public rally without a public assembly without a permit. And also because it's near the Istana.
Yeah.
So when they announced last year that all permits for public assemblies about this cause will be denied, in some way it is making it illegal. Then the second one, using the phrases like that, even though it's a private event, it may be an offense under Section 298A of the Penal Code 1871, which basically is about like the terms and the use of those phrases. So that's what you said. I never thought about it that way, that okay, that is a private event, but there were complaints from the public because the video was shared online. So all this, I think, stems from the fact that in both cases, there were complaints from the public about this. And I guess the police has to investigate. We don't know the outcome. Maybe it might be the end of it is like, okay, this is a private event. We can't control what happens in a private event.
But then again, remember back in the day, like in nightclubs like Zouk and all, people get arrested for shouting gang slogans and things like that, even while like just singing along to music and chanting gang slogans. So you could argue that those are also in private spaces and all that, right?
Yeah.
But we knew people would get arrested.
Were you ever there when some people got arrested?
No, but you can read about it in the papers and hear from people and things like that. And then, I think in Zouk, there are literally signs inside telling people not to chant these gang slogans because you could get in trouble.
Yeah. Because like at first I was thinking, okay, like sure, should the police have jurisdiction about like private events to the extent that, let's say, even if I host you and a few other people at my house and then we start chanting whatever, are we liable for being arrested? Right? Yeah. So in this case, like you, at events also sometimes you say, this is under Chatham House rules and all, no videos and all.
Yeah.
But this one, the video was taken and it almost felt like, okay, they want to get the message out. Assuming, because the account that was uploaded it wasn't someone's account, it was one of those consolidated accounts that uploaded it.
Yeah.
Then Wake Up Singapore shared it. So I guess once you upload it public, then it becomes an offense.
Yeah. Once it's recorded and put out there, I guess.
Yeah.
Then there's a record of things being said or chanted at the event, right?
Yeah. But
it does look quite heated, right? When you look at the video, just as a layperson, it looks quite charged, right?
Yeah.
And you see the comments also. Basically a lot of people in support and wishing that they could be there also at the event, right?
Yeah, I mean, two sides. I think on Reddit it was more like, hey, these people got so much energy, go and fight in Gaza. Then I was thinking, okay, people can have their different opinions, but like, the last time we covered this, we were talking about how, okay, maybe having something like this publicly, it could be polarizing, it could set off things, right? But then you see this, do you think it's also like there's power in these kind of things? Like it can affect change? It can do shit?
You're talking about the public assembly, the umbrellas and all that, the living letters.
Actually, you know why the watermelon is a symbol of Palestine?
Because they can't actually use the flag, they can't actually display the flag. Per se. I think it was back in the day when I think I don't know whether it was in Gaza or other parts of the West Bank that were controlled by Israel, where they were not allowed to have the Palestine flag.
Yeah, in 1967 during the 6-Day War, after the 6-Day War.
Yeah. So people use these watermelon symbols in place of that, right?
And you know why it's the watermelon symbol?
Colors, right? Palestine flag.
Palestine flag. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. But yeah, going back to this thing about having the assembly, I mean, is this something you feel like, wow, they shouldn't do this, or like it's still for a cause? I don't know.
I mean, there's a very strong thread of giving voice to the oppressed, right? In a lot of the rhetoric and a lot of the material that is out there from this group, right? Like, as oppressed people, I think oppressed people of the world sort of uniting against the larger authorities and the powers and all. So there's a very clear act of defiance, right? That's happening when people do this. So I think they want it. I think that's exactly the kind of response that they want, right? For there to be public attention, for the police to actually have to make a statement about it, and for people to actually notice it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it has gotten the effect that it wanted. But you're asking good in the sense of what does it like make the layperson actually sympathize with the cause more, is it?
I mean, in different ways, because I know like when the ban came out on these kind of things, I think I was more of the line like, okay, it's a good thing because these kind of things can get very heated.
Yeah.
It might not be the most constructive.
Yeah.
But then like after this, after this happened, we're talking about it. There's a bit more renewed focus on the whole horrors of Israel and Gaza now. So then I was thinking, wait, is it like what you say, is it working? Because like what you said about the theme of defiance, right? It's almost like if there's a protest that is almost so legal, right? It's less of a protest,
Yeah.
Just the optics of it, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, it probably they could probably foresee this. And in fact, in some way you get Joe Teo posting about it, it's catching the attention of the authorities, which is exactly what they wanted. Then it feels like, oh, is this like what you say, is it working like with them in a way that they wanted?
Yeah. And I think if anything, from what I'm seeing of responses to the pictures and comments and all, are that people are saying that this will hopefully galvanize others who are maybe not say on the fence, but maybe fearful of speaking their mind, to actually be more vocal about it. And I think the example that the police brought up was at the upcoming air show, Singapore Air Show, where there will be a Israeli presence there, right? What specifically is the organization?
It's the Israeli Aeronautics Institute.
Yeah.
The IAI.
Yeah. And Israeli weapons systems used by the military, right?
Israel Aerospace Industries. Yeah.
And they're really going to showcase weapons used by the military or sold to the military or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very clear, it's association with the war effort of Israel. So maybe the point of these protests that they think is that they're thinking of, and although now it's just umbrellas and watermelons and dropping off letters and things like that, the point is to try and get people to see, hey, maybe there are other people like you. If you're on the fence about these things, there are other people who are willing and dare to voice out and things like that. That's why you should do it too. Of course, that's my take on what their intentions are, right? But I think the point is to show that, hey, nothing to be scared of,
Yeah.
But but the police coming down it might be a double-edged sword for them, if that's the intention, because it might make people a bit more double take on whether they should participate in anything like this,
Yeah, or if so, this now the police also a bit tricky, right? Because the investigations are ongoing. If they don't clamp down hard, is it going to make other people feel like, hey, really, you get publicity with no real negative consequence? Hey, if you clamp down hard, it bleeds into the whole this is being oppressed.
Yeah.
So it feels like, oh shit. But like what you said about bringing attention to certain things, like literally the Singapore Air Show is going to have IAI. And if you go to the IAI website, right, under like their media and press events, they're going to have a booth to learn about the wide range of solutions IAI has to offer. Looking forward to meeting you. And then they go to the IAI Solutions Naval Combat Suite, Digital AESA Radar, Thunderbolt plane, Maritime Patrol Aircraft, Naval Weapon System. You're just reading it, it feels like, oh shit, this is literally things that are probably being used now. And it doesn't leave the best taste in the mouth.
Yeah.
So then it feels like, oh shit, if they're going to be at the Singapore Air Show, doesn't that kind of like, is that a good thing? I know at least one event last year where in October, when the whole conflict escalated, they actually pulled all the Israeli speakers or representations from Israeli companies. I think maybe that would have been the companies themselves.
Yeah, security reasons.
Security reasons. So in this case, if you're like, so soon having an IAI booth. I don't know. And the only reason I know about this is because of the newspaper article where there were calls to protest at the air show.
Not necessarily protest, but even just put stickers.
Putting stickers, yeah.
It's like the sticker lady, reborn. Remember that thing back in the day?
Yeah.
And for those too young to remember, it was basically Samantha Low, who we've actually interviewed on the podcast before, the sticker lady artist, who designed these stickers, I think because she was irritated with Singaporeans who would go to the traffic junction and keep pounding the button to cross the road, right? And so she would paste this sticker that once is enough already or something like that. You could even argue that it was like a PSA that is just telling people don't need to be so kanchong about life and all that.
Yeah.
But she got in hot water. She got arrested. I think ultimately got fined and not sure if there was jail time and everything. But yeah, she came out on the other side as the sticker lady.
Sticker lady, correct.
Commissioned to do art installations
involving stickers.
So sometimes, the whole Streisand effect thing is true. Like people, like the more they clamp down on it, the more more people jump on it and even give her the level of fame that she would never have achieved without that clamping down.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like this one, I mean, as much as I think it is a good thing that maybe these kind of things are not encouraged and even clamped down on, I see this somewhat different. Okay, recently there was another two activists who poured soup on the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
That one, it feels like, okay, like what?
Destruction of property.
And like you have a message that is almost, how you say, you are like damaging something. Whereas in this one, the peaceful thing, the only thing is around the Istana, it is a security issue.
Yeah.
But not to say that, if you do it in a heartland, it's less of a security issue. In fact, it's more dense, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. This kind of thing, I think the main thing is like by having this being clamped down by the police is bringing more attention to it, which might open people's eyes to the issues and maybe for the impact this can kind of have, even though it's illegal.
Yeah.
So it's a peculiar case,
Yeah. It's kind of like a pressure cooker kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to just let out little pockets of steam once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while, to just sort of release the pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
If you let it keep building up, keep like trying to close it in, it's going to end up like backfiring, right?
Yeah, I mean, even on a human level, right? If you are like keeping all these negative thoughts inside you and all, and you don't release it, right?
Yeah,
that's bad, you know. Like how every few days you complain to someone about me, right? It's healthy.
It's healthy.
It's healthy.
Every week.
Yeah,
I just went every Tuesday. I'm like, the alarm clock comes on. Got to complain.
No,
about
that one
this.
you already complained to me and Tristan, but the people behind my back that you complain to, it's healthy because if you don't complain, then it will bubble up. Yeah, that's right. When I see you, I'm like, hey, Terrence, why so angry this morning?
Revenge eating, everything. No, but
It's healthy.
It's true. I think the police force has a very delicate balancing act here, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what they allow and don't allow, because you on one hand you want to show clamp down things, but clamp down on things that are obviously illegal, but on the other hand, it's like umbrellas and watermelons. It's not exactly like on the level of the protests that we see in other countries, right?
Yeah. But then if you don't, then it undermines the announcement you made last year where you're like, this is illegal. If they don't clamp down.
But I think that's where the organizers are, in some sense, they're skirting around some of these issues, right? No symbols or that are directly related to Palestine. No symbols. It's just an umbrella. No watermelon.
Yeah.
No gatherings of protest. It's not gathering if they're just walking along a public road. I mean, I'm sure there'll be arguments like that for it, right? Or to defend themselves. But yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, if there is a public complaint or like a public what you call from the public or reporting, the police has to investigate.
Yeah.
But even in their media release, they were very careful to say they may have committed an offense under blah blah blah. So it's being investigated. Yeah. I'm sure there will be an outcome.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this, if it carries on building, it will also be discussed in Parliament.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's just interesting, the social phenomenon of this.
Yeah, and all this takes place also around I'm even seeing like on Shanmugam's Instagram and everything. He's highlighting some of the alleged atrocities going on in Gaza, right? You know, the small kids, or rescue workers who are trying to rescue a small kid trapped in a vehicle, getting killed in the process, and things like that also. And so it's like everyone, we're not saying it's complex in the sense that, it's a very complex geopolitical issue, but it's complex in terms of like, wow. I mean, you say you want to be on the side of humanity, right? But how do you do that, right?
Yeah.
At this point, when especially if you're part of a government and everything who has an official stance on the matter, but you personally might have something, a conflicting view on it or what also, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, of course you'll get the naysayers who will say, these people are just jumping on the hype wagon and all. You'll always get people like that. But I can totally imagine, even like the layperson looking at some of these videos, be it deaths of anyone, of children, regardless of which country, is fucking sad, right?
Yeah, it is.
So, and if people have no place to kind of express their emotions, that's also not good. So yeah, like these kind of things. I'm surprised that it's only happened now because it's February. October, the thing was, and there hasn't been anything since then, right? No protests per se or anything.
I mean, there was the film festival and things
the film
like that.
festival. But that one also, I think, was even Shanmugam said it's fine.
Yeah. Or private events and all that.
Yeah. So this one, interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, heating up.
Heating up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But in a utopian world, Singaporeans will always have a much larger voice. And in this other iteration of a utopian world, right? One Singaporean has a very large voice, but she's been cut down by a lot of other people also, other players in this world also. And who is this person and what is this world we're talking about?
It is the world of Skull and Bones, which is an upcoming action adventure game developed by Ubisoft Singapore and published by Ubisoft. Has it been released already or not yet this month?
I believe this few days it's been open beta for it's been like on beta for a while. What's the term, Tristan? Early access.
Open beta, trying to be complicated or fucking early access, dude.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. Yes.
I like Tristan's no nonsense tone.
Yeah, correct.
So I mean, that whole game has had a slew of controversies. But recently, something that we saw on Reddit, where one of the characters, the name of whom slips my mind. Asna Yatim, is actually voiced by a Singaporean actress.
Yes.
Someone who we have worked very closely with before, who was one of the stars of our She's a Terrorist and I Love Her TV series, Caitanya Tan.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so there was a 40-minute video uploaded to YouTube, like just showing the gameplay with one scene where her character speaks. And there's a Singaporean accent, but it doesn't sound like the most Singaporean. And on Reddit especially, people were shitting on the accent and saying, what kind of nonsense is this? This is not even Singaporean. And then she released a TikTok showing the behind the scenes where she actually went to, seemed like a legit recording studio in Singapore, and explained how, like as a voiceover actor, you're still having to listen to the director. So like I know you were excited to talk about this.
Yeah.
Why, Terrence?
I guess it's this is not the first time this has happened in games. Like years ago, there was the legendary character Bolo Santosi from the game Just Cause 3, where she had a very exaggerated Singapore accent and saying word lines like, I am the leader of the revolutionary army known as the Reapers, and things like that. Yeah. So it caused a lot of people to laugh at the character.
She's Singaporean.
I believe it was a Singapore actress, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a Singaporean actress playing the accent.
As in it was a Singaporean character?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's a fictional world. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is it again. But it's in a very different scenario where Skull and Bones is made in Singapore, proudly made in Singapore game, at least by the Ubisoft team in Singapore.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Singaporean developers and people worked on it. So Caitanya being casted in the role and having pretty meaty lines and all. It's I guess it's a good thing, good thing for her career, good thing for Ubisoft Singapore, good thing for our game ecosystem. You put aside all the reviews that the game is getting now and the bad press that the game has gotten over the years, right? But yeah, I think it's a good thing. But what do you think about her accent being ridiculed or made fun of in what you've heard about the game? In fact, maybe we should play a little bit of the accent here, just so people can hear what so many gamers or commenters online are laughing about, right?
Yes.
This is Caitanya Tan playing the character Asna in the game Skull and Bones.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's play this.
Yeah, we're going to do it guerrilla style and just hold up the laptop to the mic for those people who are...
Oh shit, this is me on high speed. Shit, this is not the...
Slow it down.
slow it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
We survived the battle, and now you arrive to help through the Tao. I would say our fortune's on the rise, no? There's a certain yearning in your eyes. I've seen the same glint in others before. I'm sure you will steer us true to Saint Anne.
To reach paradise, we must first know the way.
So
Yes.
that's not her.
A logbook we retrieved from the wreck. More than ink and parchment, our fates are revealed in layers and often from plain sight. Perhaps this will help you chart your path forward, friend.
Make yourself
So that was her.
100% that was Caitanya,
Yeah, that was 100%. If you watch the show, you know she actually appeared on our podcast before also.
Yeah. She's a friend of the podcast at Ministry of Funny and all that, for sure.
So according to like the some fandom wiki I found online, she was a Malay pirate who was active during the Indian Ocean in the 17th century.
Yeah.
So yeah, like ethnicity is meant to be Malay.
Yeah.
So when you listen to the accent, Terrence, do you feel like singing like Home by Kit Chan?
I think the thing about Kate is, I think she also has a very international background, right? So her accent in general, when you speak to her, is quite neutral. Like I wouldn't even call her accent particularly Singaporean day to day, right? But as a voice actress, I guess she can exaggerate certain parts of it, and here, in fact, I find it quite neutral. I don't even find it that Singaporean per se, Only the certain way she, the intonations on certain words. Then okay, I get where they're going with this slightly Singaporean twang to it.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the Singaporeans who are saying that it's very cringe and all that.
I think because it just sounds like the only time it felt Singaporean to me was when I listened to it at 2x speed.
Oh really? Why?
Because that's how I think Singaporeans speak English.
Where we don't enunciate.
You don't enunciate and you all the words blended together.
Yeah.
So I think like if you were to take what I'm saying now and you slow it down to 1x speed or like half time speed, it would maybe sound a bit weird because that's not the way people normally speak in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it is. And I mean, she did also clarify and taught me a few things in her TikTok that her direction was to speak in a Singlish accent with an acrolect pronunciation. I was like, what the fuck is acrolect?
Yeah.
And basically for any Creole continuum, and Creole is basically like a language that is a blend of different languages. There's the acrolect, which is the highest or most prestigious way of speaking a particular Creole, and they tend to be like for upper class and more educated. And then there's basilect, which is the lowest or least prestigious, and then in between there's the mesolect lah. So I was like, oh shit, that's why sometimes when some people speak Singaporean, you're like, that's Singaporean but very atas, So that's acrolect lah.
Yeah.
Whereas the street Singlish is basolect.
Yeah. So where is she going?
She said what her direction was as a voice actor was to go acrolect.
Acrolect, okay.
Yeah, so that's why it is maybe a bit more, that kind of colonial, people who grew up in the colonial area, the British, the Queen's English.
The Lee Kuan Yew kind of.
The Lee Kuan Yew kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even then looking at it, I was like, wait, is this really that cringeworthy? Maybe it's because we are not used to hearing the Singapore accent pronounced or enunciated better.
Yeah. I think no, and I think it's also because it's been beaten to us that we have to be embarrassed of the Singapore accent also, as opposed to fully embrace it. Like it's just how we talk, and even within how we talk, there's probably a lot of different variations of it, like what you said, acrolect, baselect, and everything, right? But the general blanket things like, if it's Singaporean, it just sounds so cheesy and bad and everything.
But do you think she could have sounded more Singaporean while keeping it acrolect and like clearly enunciated.
But I think she makes a point also that remember the game is not just for Singaporeans also, right? It has to be such that people can actually understand like gamers from all across the world can understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
So if we just speak in our normal way like the Singaporean where we talk very fast and we don't actually enunciate things properly like that, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard for people to
But
understand.
then when you were working, you worked in New York for 2 years.
Yes.
So what, you had to...
I went acro-like, full
acro-like.
Yeah. No, I would say that I think the big point for me was like the first year of university, where I went there thinking that to assimilate meant that I needed to, speak with an accent, American accent specifically, and really and do it. And then I realized after a while, it's just, firstly, it got too difficult, right? And secondly, you're kind of like taking away the one thing that probably makes you unique compared to everyone else in the classroom. And at that point of time, trying to adjust to American style of like class participation was actually a very big leap for me. Having to be proactively raising my hands and answering questions and all that. It took a lot for me to overcome that hurdle, right? From my Singapore education system where you could sit in the back of the classroom and nobody would call on you, right? So over time I learned that, if I wanted to be able to use my brain while talking, I needed to speak like how I normally speak without trying to put on an accent.
So how would year 1 Terrence sound?
I'll be actively trying to speak with an American accent, and it would just be really unnatural. I didn't like it, but it seemed like I had no choice, or at least I thought I had no choice. But yeah, I know, exactly.
Oh my God.
It was horrible. And I remember I was taking like a legal studies class where we were presenting, we would read cases and we had to present to the class what the case was. Like a bit like how we do our podcast now where, this is what this article is about, present it in like 10 minutes kind of thing. So I remember I would literally be like sweating like before it was my turn, and like my heart would be pounding and all that because I would have to deliver it, because I thought I would have to deliver it in that kind of accent and all that, And it was just so difficult. And after a while, I just like, you know what? I'm going to just lean into this whole Singaporean thing. I'm a military veteran, I come from a country where we cane people for chewing gum, and this is how I talk. And all you have to do, what I realized over time, all you have to do is just enunciate and speak a little more slowly and give people the time to catch up with your accent.
Like how Caitanya is speaking in the video.
Like how Caitanya is speaking. So actually, I feel that we give ourselves too much shit for how we sound. In fact, like if we learn to embrace it a bit more, I think over time people understand this is what a Singaporean accent is. And then, I mean, like with everything, some people who don't like it and some people who really like it and all, then you can start like becoming that charming, Southeast Asian dude at a party and all that. People come and talk to you.
Oh, laugh. Oh my God.
I love it. Yeah.
It's so sexy.
Yeah, I stopped over in Singapore. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, because I met you when you were year 3, and I don't think I saw the anglicized Terrence.
It was out of me already. Yeah.
It was out of you already.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I got there, one very eye-opening thing was, because I don't think I went through the phase of wanting to put on an accent.
Yeah.
And I think it was because remember I told you before that one big thing was the international orientation and like playing football and all, right?
Yeah.
Then I see all these people with various accents, some of whom can even speak proper English. But they never shied away from it.
Exactly, yeah.
And I was like, hey, fuck. Like, okay, that guy, like, of course, some accents are just cool, like from Trinidad and Tobago. They're like, damn cool. Then, like, the stereotypically French or European. But I had one friend from Ecuador, he couldn't speak English. He never even used the word B. It was little v. So when you ask him like how you spell this, he'd be like, oh, V, little v. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's so cute. Then I was like, hey, fuck. Then screw it. I'm just going to speak like the way I spoke. But I went the other extreme. I tried to speak as normal as possible. So my close friends, they said the first 3 months, they really had difficulty understanding me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what? I don't give a shit. You're going to understand the way I talk. And I would just go into the room. I'm like, hey, you want to go eat? They're like, yeah. Then after that, they told me they just had no idea what I was saying. They just heard the word eat.
Yeah.
But then after that, I also came to the middle ground of like, as long as you enunciate and you slow down, you don't need to lose your twang.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And in fact, over time, they realized that, because you're using your vocabulary might be even more extensive than theirs. they don't dare to shit on you so much already, you know. So it's really and kind of like it taught me something about public speaking also. Sometimes speaking slowly gives you a level of authority that people don't usually have if you just rush through what you're saying, right? So that's things you learn along the way, and I mean it helped me to get a job there, work in an American company and everything, and that's fine. It was fine, for 2 years and everything. It was more than fine, yeah.
Suddenly you got like some CCTV footage. You're like, can I get a pizza slice? I love the salami.
I won't deny that there was that very confusing phase of my life.
So I mean, in this case, it's one of those things that at least now, like with this, whether you agree with the accent or not, I mean, it's nice to have that on the map, you know.
Yeah, and to see fellow artists, actors, being represented in global AAA or quadruple A games as they call it, like Skull and Bones, yeah. But the whole Skull and Bones game itself has the backstory of the development hell that it's been through is also quite interesting.
And what's the TLDR?
The TLDR is that it was announced. It was announced and slated for release multiple times, and it just kept getting delayed, and multiple reboots or changing of directions and all that. So, like what I understand, it was meant to be a player versus player kind of thing, and after that they went to flirt with like the idea of doing a single player narrative. And after that they went back to some kind of combat arena thing. So there's a lot of people who what the game was originally that they were hoping that it would be, it has not turned out as such, and so it's not something that a lot of people are looking forward to now.
And then was there some controversy where they shut down the office? No.
Ubisoft had some like pretty serious allegations of mistreatment of employees that they had to deal with in 2022.
Okay.
Singapore office wasn't spared either. I think some people lost like were cut and everything.
So they still have a physical space in Singapore.
They do, yeah. But I think this has been in the making for very long, multiple years.
Is it it's hotly anticipated, or by now people are just like...
by now people, because there was this game called Assassin's Creed Black Flag, right, Tristan? Where it was an Assassin's Creed game, and then they had this pirate or like pirate ship elements of the game that were very well received, and people are like, please make a version of a game that takes this element and then
so this
because it's by Ubisoft also.
Totally new IP. It's not like a second or third installment.
Yes. So Ubisoft said, we heard you, and we're going to make this fantastic pirate game where you can level up from being a lowly ship hand, and then after that work your way up to be the pirate, the king pirate and everything. So they promised that. From what I've been reading, all that hasn't really fulfilled that full expectation. So there's a lot of I would say buzz in that sense, negative also, positive and negative.
I guess good for Kate.
Yeah. I'm very happy that her voice is immortalized in that game forever.
Unless when we meet her in person, then she speak full acro, I'll be like, Kate, please, Kate, don't give me this nonsense.
But it's a real thing that we go through on a day-to-day basis. Like even the most recent narrative series we did, right? About afterlife support, right?
Yeah.
Where we had to kind of like, okay, let's like figure out the voices for each of these characters. And we really went to backstories, like each of these ghosts, how long have they stayed in Singapore? Have they assimilated the local culture and things like that? So it is a real debate every time we start a new project, right?
Yeah, it is. Even like when like the character I played in our TV show also, like it was more like, okay, how Singaporean you want to go? Because if you go full Singlish, the general viewer might not understand.
Yeah.
So you have to strike this balance.
Yes.
And that is what I call the art of acting, Terence.
Yeah, that's right. It's a balance.
Yeah,
but it also starts from, the direction that is given also, where you kind of just decide on, okay, this is where we want our characters, we want our characters to sound like.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's, you also have to take a stretch from reality, right? You have to veer away from what reality is and okay, figure out, we want to reach a bigger audience, so this is what the characters have to sound like.
Yeah. And I mean, if anything, this is the first step. The one problem with representation is that if you only have one instance of, say, a Singaporean, everybody thinks a Singaporean speaks that way.
Yeah.
But then now, in the past few weeks, we have two. We have, this Asna Yatim and Show from TikTok.
Yeah.
People also be like, hey, is that a Singaporean accent?
I'm Singaporean, Senator.
I'm Singaporean, Senator. So then you have a range lah.
Yeah.
Then maybe people then start to realize, hey, Singapore, there's a general accent, but people there also speak differently.
Yeah.
You know?
Diversity.
Yeah, it's like in the UK, you got a Georgie accent, you got a Mancunian accent.
Yeah.
Singapore, maybe you will have Punggol accent,
Sengkang.
Yishun, Sengkang, Tampines, all.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least.
So kids, if you had to like name kids' accent lah, like you just said Punggol, Yishun. What would you call kids' accent? 6th Avenue accent.
No, not 6th Avenue. It's more like Tanjong Pagar.
Huh?
Tanjong Pagar accent.
Tanjong Pagar. Oh.
Like her real life, normal day to day lah.
Yeah.
See, I mean,
She's
we
a
have to send her this
Tanjong
clip.
Yeah, we love Kate, and we're saying this with all with love.
Tanjong
So
Pagar
she's
accent.
a Tanjong Pagar accent.
You?
lah. I would say One North accent. She One North accent.
One North.
Yeah. Very, very it's Singapore, but it's very focused on the global world, right? You know, global companies at One North and all that thing. But it is a very Singapore thing, One North.
One North accent.
And it's a part of One North was like the dream of Singapore being a media and tech hub, right? Going on there. So I think Kate's accent is that the One North
Kate,
accent.
when you listen to this, I'm saying Tanjong Pagar accent, One North.
One North accent.
Yeah, One North accent. And if you're listening, just go to her profile, listen to her voice, and you all can decide for yourselves.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Sweet.
But yeah, quite interesting. But what is your one Shiok comment?
My one Shiok comment. I mean, like I'll just go for something on YouTube.
Sure.
It was on our latest episode, Parliament debates on Singapore reserves and Mr. Coconut shows receipts in employee disputes. Yalabat 491. And I mean, just someone put a comment that in relation to something I was saying about how there's a bit of unease now that, it feels like that there's general less trust and all that in the government and all. And Pierce McLean, 1965, just put something, why must you feel unease when trust of the governing party has been eroded? Is not the time for the citizens to pause and do some critical thinking. It is moving towards a better team. Do not buy into the narrative that Singapore cannot function with them. Everyone in the stat boards or corporations know that is not true. Even with the changing of guard, life still goes on. Which I thought was an interesting thing that, it made me also think like, why is there unease if there is less trust? I think it's never a good thing if there's no trust in the government, but full trust is also maybe not the best thing.
Yeah.
So I just thought this was a comment that made me go that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
So cheers for that. And what about you, Terence?
Mine's from Reddit, where actually on Reddit there's a very interesting thread going on. I think someone talked about why is the amount in reserve such a big debate, and it's been quite hotly debated on our subreddit itself, right? The post was by Income Educational 945. I mean, like right now there's already like 37 comments, and we're not talking about like one-line comments. We're talking about like paragraphs and people actually taking the time to write down the different things, right? So because I think it's off the back of us talking about the Singapore reserves, and it's just really a question on why the size of the reserves is even worth debating or worth revealing, right? So yeah, I'm glad that people are taking on a whole yalla butt approach to this topic as well.
Yeah, man.
And just enjoying talking to each other in a civil manner about this topic rather than just like short one-line comments and all.
Yeah. It's pretty great. 55,000 views of the post already. Oh shit! And we're at 3.1k Reddit members already.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Sweet, man.
Wow. Even as now we're recording, there are 15 of them online.
Oh wow.
Sweet, awesome. Man.
But yeah,
cool.
What is your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing. I finally started watching Ted Lasso.
Okay, and
I fucking love it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like Ted Lasso is one of those shows. Okay, the premise is interesting.
Yeah.
It is about this American football coach of a college team that gets hired by this Premier League club in London or in the UK to coach them. And it stars Jason Sudeikis, who I love as an actor. And it is a very uplifting show. But unlike those uplifting shows that's all just happy, it actually goes to very sad places. Like I've teared up multiple times already.
Okay.
And I'm almost the end of season 1. And I can see why it was so popular. La. And I think it's a great show. La.
Okay.
It's a great
Apple
show.
TV. Right?
Apple TV.
Okay.
And
you
episode,
subscribe to Apple TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
And every episode is like 30, 31, 32 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And it's getting harder to find a show like that.
Mm.
And sometimes you just need a show that can be like 31, 32 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good. I like it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you?
Mine's also a show. It's a reality dating show called Love Deadline. Japanese. We'll describe it as a sort of a mix between Terrace House and Singles Inferno. A very Japanese way. If you really like Singles Inferno, you actually might not like this particular one. But I'm suggesting it as a one Shiok thing because the premise is that these single people come together to try and find love with each other. But the interesting thing is, rather than stay in one location and just do challenges in one location, they move from place to place. And the finale of the show actually takes place in Singapore. They come to Singapore for a few days and they resolve everything here in Singapore and go on dates in Singapore.
But it's the same premise. You got a bunch of guys, a bunch of girls.
Going on dates, doing things together.
I know you told me that day, you don't think I'll enjoy it.
I don't think you enjoy it. But I mean, I finally got to the point where they're in Singapore and I'm like, okay, just because Singapore is part of it, I think it also makes it more interesting.
But can you explain why you think I wouldn't enjoy it, given I love Singles Inferno?
Exactly, because
it's not as trashy, is it?
I think Singles Inferno, it's a very it's a very made up world, right? Of these really hot, really well built, really good looking Koreans all hanging out together on an island that honestly is like a castaway kind of island. But at the same time, they have like I'm guessing they have toilets and beds and all to sleep in tents and all. And then they very artificially are flown every night to go and sleep in a hotel, and spend the night together. Which even as a dating couple, you might not spend the night together in a nice grand hotel like that. So it's putting people in scenarios that they day to day they would not encounter, right? Being trapped on an island, then suddenly spending a night in some expensive hotel with a hot significant other and all. Whereas this Love Deadline is much more. I mean, yeah, they are all put together in a room, but think of it more like a bunch of people on a what do you call it, on a yacht. Oh yeah, going for a holiday together, and then you're with this bunch of people, and then you start to develop feelings for each other through doing normal dates, going on dates.
But normal
go and try out things. Go and go for tie-dye.
Sounds like I'll like it, right?
No, I think you like that element of it's like, wow, there's this intense thing where tonight you get to spend the night with somebody,
Different kind of show.
That's not life, that's not a reflection of life.
I watch it not to see it as a reflection of life. Wow, imagine I go Ubin with my wife or something. No, exactly, it's a different kind of show.
That's what you want from those dating shows, right? The element of, tonight who am I going to spend? Who's he going to spend the night with? Just because
you say that, I'm going to start watching it this weekend. I'm going to show you that I can appreciate different types of dating shows.
So Terrace House is, I say like that because Terrace House to me is on the other end of the spectrum where you really just, I mean, of course it's some fake but the mundaneness of life is part of the show also And then Singles Inferno is like really inferno, hot people there. And then somewhere in between there's Love Deadline
It sounds great, Terrence.
Yeah. So, but the fact that it goes to Singapore, and there's some parts where they do very strange things in Singapore that I felt were quite funny. That's why I was like, okay, it's quite worth watching if you're a Singaporean.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow,
definitely STB had some part in the whole thing. Yeah.
Cool, man.
But cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So 2 show recommendations to watch.
Yes.
Hopefully you subscribe to at least one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of the show today, man.
The New Year, Happy New Year, the Chinese New Year episode.
Chinese New Year episode. So, as we said before, if you enjoyed this podcast, it'd be great if you could share it. Follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you can. And if you want to work with us, where should they email, Terrence?
contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.